God, respect and love to the Most High God for loving us, giving us another day to do what we do. All right, now I want to go into detail for the reasons why I believe that Tank versus Devin, or Tank versus the Dream, um, is absolutely the biggest and the best fight at 135 pounds right now. All right, that's the fight at 135 pounds. Let me explain. Both Tank and Devin. Well, Devin's already faced Vasily Lomachenko. Lomachenko lost to Devin Haney. So Devin Haney won his fight with Lomachenko. Tank won his fight with Ryan Garcia. The fight that Tank had with Ryan Garcia made 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. All right, that's amazing. That's an astronomical amount of figures. That made Tank the face of boxing because he even the people are actually outbought the Canelo fight. All right, so Tank is an extremely popular fighter. He's on the rise still, and he possibly has overshot Canelo as the face of boxing because I think Canelo in his last couple of fights didn't even break a million pay-per-view buys. I think Caleb Plant fight didn't break a million pay-per-view buys. Bevo fight didn't break a million pay-per-view buys, and his fight with he had a fight with Ryder that didn't break a million pay-per-view buys, and then he had a fight also with Gennady Golovkin, and that didn't break a million pay-per-view buys. So Tank versus Ryan so far is the highest grossing fight for the year. Tank is taking over Canelo's status. Canelo has a lot of credentials and stuff, but people come out to see Tank and they pay to see Tank. All right, he is the face of boxing right now, currently. All right, he has the highest pay-per-view buys for the year. Okay, it's possible it may be eclipsed by Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford, but I can guarantee you it will not be eclipsed by them if Javante Tank Davis faces Devin the Dream Haney. That fight's gonna blow up pay-per-view buys. I'm gonna explain to you why. Well, we found out that Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko made 150 pay-per-view buys. So I had announced that it made 250 pay-per-view buys, but it didn't. It made 150 pay-per-view buys. 50,000, sorry, pay-per-view buys. Tank did like almost 10 times that, right? With Ryan. However, Ryan Garcia wasn't a pay-per-view star. Okay? Ryan Garcia wasn't a pay-per-view star. Um, 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 uh, all the other fighters before him. Rolly Romero wasn't a pay-per-view star. Rolly Romero talked a lot of trash. You know what I'm saying? He talked a lot of trash, and that the pay-per-view buys for that fight was 200 and something, I think, thousand pay-per-view buys. Then you had Tank versus I think Leo Santa Cruz. I think that was his biggest pay-per-view until I had 300 something thousand pay-per-view buys. This is Devin Haney's first pay-per-view. Okay, people pirate stuff all now. They steal streaming, so it's up to us as fans to pay for the fights. We must pay for the fights that we want to see. Okay, we have to. But Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko is it made a lot of noise. Okay, the results, the fight was great. Devin Haney adjusted his style to a much more toe to toe. Come forward. Bring the thunder. More active, combative fight style, which really, really, really you can't fault Devin Haney for the fight that he put on with Vasily Lomachenko. It was exciting. It was action packed. Both guys hurt each other somewhat. It was a good fight, right? So Devin Haney now, especially in light of the fact that he pushed Lomachenko and he's kind of become a villain, sort of like in boxing. I think his status is just going to go way up into the sky. Good press, bad press. All news is good news. You know what I mean? So Devin Haney right now, he's a hot commodity right now. People want to see him lose. They think the Tank could possibly knock him out. So they would love to see that. All right. So that's a fight people will buy. Okay. Devin Haney's kind of like the villain. This is perfect because let me tell you, the timing has to be now. Tank has just done 1.2 million pay-per-view buys with Ryan Garcia. All right, yeah, they did two punches, and Ryan's a very exciting guy, and he had a big following. But Devin Haney is not slacking when it comes to a following. He has a big following himself. Not as big as Ryan, not as big as Tank, but he has a big following. And then we got this. Devin Haney is the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. That's one of the most, one of the most, um, you know, one of the most. It is the highest title, the highest honor you can get in the sport of boxing. Javante Tank Davis is the face of boxing. You got the face of boxing coming up against the undisputed champion or number one lightweight in the lightweight division as per the only champion in the division, the number one lightweight in the division as per ranking. God damn. I mean, Tank versus Shakur can't bring that. Shakur, you could say he was the former, unified 130-pound champion, but Devin Haney's bringing a champion in the division. Tank could take over the division if he knocked out Devin Haney or if he beat Devin Haney, outbox him or something. You know what I'm saying? And then Tank would be the face of boxing and the undisputed champion, of which Vasily Lomachenko will gun for him. Everybody be gunning for him. But guess what? He's legitimized both in boxing and with the casuals. He'd have killed two birds with one stone. And that's a big, big fight. I argue that fight is bigger and more massive than a fight that than Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. I'm gonna tell you why. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence are on the back end of their primes. The back end of their primes. Got a lot of experience. They have great credentials, but they're on the back end of their primes. What makes this fight so incredible and almost like a Leonard versus Hearns, except they're in the lower weight class, is that Devin Haney is the undisputed champion. Tank is a two divisional is a one divisional champion. Sorry, my bad. But he has some secondary titles in two other divisions, of which one of them is Devin Haney's division. And guess what? Tank is the regular WBA champion, and Devin Haney is the super champion. So that's crazy right there. But then on top of that, Javante Tank Davis was one of the baddest 130 pounders. I mean, he fought Leo Santa Cruz and beat him coming down from lightweight to 130 pounds. He also beat, and Leo Santa Cruz is going to go into Boxing Hall of Fame because he's a four-divisional world champion who has beaten the likes of Carl Frampton. He's beaten the likes of why do I not remember this guy's name? He begins with A, all right? But whatever. He was a world champion himself. I just can't remember his name right now. So what I'm saying is, Leo Santa Cruz, was a big name in boxing. Still to this day, he was in his prime as well. So Tank Davis has beaten some real great names in the one. I like way he has beaten Hector, the undefeated Hector. He stopped the undefeated Hector Garcia, who is currently the 130-pound WBA champion. He beat Rolando Romero, who currently is the WBA super lightweight champion, or 140-pound champion. All right, he beat Yuriorkis Gamboa, a little long in the tooth, but nonetheless, Yuriorkis Gamboa, who was the regular WBA champion at lightweight. And he wasn't the real champion, but nonetheless, he had the secondary title. But he also was he's a two-time world champion because he was a WBA featherweight world champion, and then he went up to super featherweight and became the WBA super featherweight world champion. I believe it was a super champion at that. So Yuriorkis Gamboa has a lot of experience. Has beaten a lot of people. A great name. He was a little long in the tooth, but yet Tank got him out of there in the 12th round. I think the final round, the referee stopped the fight. And Gamboa got up to fight, but so the referee basically gave Tank the knockout because it didn't make sense at a certain point, and Gamboa's balance was way off. But Gamboa's a tough guy. I still want to see Gamboa get his flowers. But what I'm saying is he beat that guy. He beat Rolly Romero. He beat Hector Garcia. He basically beat three world champions, one future world champion, one present world champion, and one former world champion. Okay, he also faced uh, rising star Pitbull Cruz, who suffered his only loss to him, and also rising star, very popular fighter Ryan Garcia. Okay, so Javante Tank Davis has a lot of experience at lightweight. Is adapted to the weight. The weight is no problem for Javante Tank Davis. He's been stopping people of late. Very excited, very explosive fighter, very smart fighter, very good boxer. So I mean, you have it all with Tank Davis. Superstar. Now the face of boxing. You have to say Tank Davis has proven himself at 135. He hasn't faced the top 135 pounder, but he is the face of boxing. He is the best of the best. He's also a pound for pound fighter on many people's pound for pound lists. Devin the Dream Haney. Okay, this is why Shakur Stevenson really he don't have the credentials. Devin the Dream Haney has faced three number one lightweight world champions, former or present. Okay, he has faced Jorge Linares, who was once the number one lightweight in the division after Mikey Garcia moved up to welterweight to face Errol Spence Jr., leaving his lightweight titles behind. Jorge Linares was the guy that won the WBA title and actually went across to the UK to win that title and beat the guy there to win the WBA lightweight title of the world. I think he stopped the guy or he hurt the guy or he dropped the guy or something like that. Jorge Linares, power puncher. He's a three-division champion. He's been a world champion at featherweight. He's been a world champion at super featherweight, and he became a world champion at lightweight. He's one of the, he's a great legend. May not go into Boxing Hall of Fame, but he might as well because he faced Vasily Lomachenko as well. Now, when Devin Haney faced him, he was a little bit, past his best, right? But he was still winning fights. He was winning fights in Japan, came and fought Devin Haney. And he had a moment in that fight where he hurt Devin Haney. He buzzed him. And then he tried to capitalize on that, but Devin Haney was able to neutralize that and win the fight. Now, so Devin Haney faced one former number one lightweight in the lightweight division. Now, Devin Haney's been a career lightweight, by the way. Okay. Now, the next guy that he faced was Jojo Diaz, who was the former undefeated IBF undefeated champion. That is not undefeated fighter, undefeated IBF champion. He lost his IBF title on the scales. He beat the great Tevin Farmer, who Javante Tank Davis had a rivalry with at 130. And he then went on to beat this kid from the Dominican Republic. I forgot what his name is right now, that Ryan Garcia knocked out at 140. Basically, he dominated this dude. And this dude is a tough customer. And I mean, he dominated. And against Devin Haney late in the fight, he found his distance and he was ripping shots to the body on Devin Haney. Devin Haney asserted himself in the 12th final round and took back the fight and started walking down Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz, incredible fighter. All right. Again, former world champion, a lot of experience. This guy been fighting from featherweight all the way up. Again, three divisional fighter, one divisional world champion. A lot of experience under his belt. Devin Haney being the younger guy. Veterans of the sport. So you're talking about Jorge Linares, who was a veteran of the sport. You're talking about Jojo Diaz, who was a veteran of the sport. And then he faced undefeated, young, just coming off the greatest victory of his career, George Kambosos, who was the unified WBA, IBF, and WBO champion. Okay? Devin the Dream Haney went down into Australia under the conditions that Kambosos has given, the stipulations. Kambosos called himself the Emperor. And a lot of people thought that Kambosos was going to cut the distance and was going to give Devin Haney a whole set of trouble. And Devin Haney beat Kambosos with just a jab. That's all he needed, and he beat you. And then he had to rematch Kambosos, went back down into Australia, rematched Kambosos. This time he put away his jab, used his right hand, used his footwork, fought on the inside, made a very exciting fight, very much like the Lomachenko fight. A lot of action, a lot of stuff going on. And Devin Haney busted up Kambosos' face. He really put a beating on him. But Kambosos is also tough guy. Kambosos should have gone in round 10. Devin Haney looked like he had Kambosos all but out. Kambosos fought back in the 11th. Came back strong in the 11th. And in the 12th, they was duking it out, both of them. It was a great fight. entertained the Australian crowd. They embraced Devin Haney as the true undisputed champion. He gave the champion, that was Kambosos, his rematch because he was a champion. And Devin Haney, it goes down in the history books as the youngest undisputed champion in the four belt era. Now, with respect to Devin Haney going on now to face Vasily Lomachenko, this fight here where he pushed Lomachenko, making him almost like the villain. A lot of people who was rooting for Devin Haney changed their mind after he pushed Lomachenko. Matter of fact, the Nevada State Athletic Commission actually fined Devin Haney $400,000 for pushing Vasily Lomachenko. That's how bad it was, because Devin Haney was not seen like that kind of dude. But Devin Haney was coming in there to beat down on Lomachenko. He wanted to put a whoop ass on Lomachenko and retire him, but it didn't happen. He came in and Lomachenko held his own. Lomachenko was tough, and Lomachenko was also putting in his licking on Devin Haney. He was putting some punches together. Not all the punches was landing, but he stood his ground. And guess what? Lomachenko in the 10th and 11th round came strong when Devin Haney was tiring. And, it looked like, bad times for Devin Haney. It looked like he was whooping Devin Haney's ass right in the 10th and 11th round. He put a can of whoop ass on Devin Haney. Devin Haney came back in the 12th and started bullying Lomachenko again and took control of the fight once again. I guess he was trying to take a break, and Lomachenko exploited that in the 11th and 12th. And he won. And he proved now twice successfully defending his undisputed title against the best fighters. And Lomachenko was once the number one lightweight in the division, pound for pound fighter, number one pound for pound fighter by ESPN. And he also was a unified world champion, as well as the man's resume speaks for itself at lightweight. He fought 5 lightweight world champions, former or present. He fought Jorge Linares. He fought Jose Pedraza, who also Tank Davis fought and stopped. He also fought, and Jose Pedraza was the WBO champion. Jorge Linares was the WBA champion. And then he also fought Anthony Corolla, who was, I think, the WBO champion. And he also faced, who is the other guys? Some other guys. Well, Devin Haney's one of them. So that's one. Oh, he also faced Teofimo Lopez, okay, who was the IBF champion at the time, had just beaten Richard Comey, stopped him. And Lomachenko faced Teofimo Lopez. Lomachenko had the WBA and WBO titles. Teofimo Lopez had the IBF. We're not going to talk about no franchise championship. And Teofimo Lopez beat Loma to get those 2 other titles from him. But guess what? Loma then went on to face Richard Comey, former IBF world champion, beat his ass, almost stopped him, and that's it. So we had Richard Comey, we got Devin Haney, we got Teofimo Lopez, we got Jorge Linares, we got Anthony Corolla, and we got it was 6 world champions, and we got Jose Pedraza. All right, 6 world champions. Jose Pedraza was giving Loma some problems early because, he's switch hitter. You can switch from one end to the next. And even though Pedraza got dropped, I think it was in the 10th or the 11th round, Pedraza came back, I think in the 12th and was rallying. But Loma was trying to stop Pedraza. He was trying to stop him in the 12th. I mean, Loma's a bad boy, man. He bad boy. Anyways, so Vasily Lomachenko has had 6 world champions at lightweight, former or present or future, that he beat. Devin Haney has beaten he's beaten 4, I think, world champions. He's beaten Jorge Linares, Yurkis Gamboa, Jojo Diaz, Lomachenko, and Kambosos. Actually 5 world champions. God damn. Devin Haney be going through them champions, man. But again, Devin Haney is a bona fide lightweight. His whole career, he been at lightweight. So that's to be understandable. But god damn, this ninja be fighting, man. Fighting people, man. 3 number 1 champions of the division, former, present, or former, right? So that's Devin Haney's resume, which is fucking phenomenal. And I gotta say, Devin Haney got the resume. Devin Haney got the prestige. If Tank beat Devin Haney, Tank gets all of that. And Devin Haney's a hell of a fighter, right? Devin Haney, if Devin Haney faces Tank, he could become the face of boxing. So the stakes in this thing, undisputed face of boxing, the best versus the best. These are the best fighters right now at lightweight. It's Tank and Devin Haney. After Tank and Devin Haney, I'll put Vasily Lomachenko, then I'll put Shakur Stevenson. Now people will say, Well, why are you putting Shakur so low? Do you see the eye test? No, no, man. We got to look at a combination of all kinds of things. We can't just look at the eye test. Shakur got a great eye test, but he ain't done nothing at lightweight. You understand what I'm saying? He ain't done nothing at lightweight. So how can I put him above Devin Haney? How can I put him above Tank? You know what I'm saying? Tank done put in the work. Devin Haney done put in the work. I can't even put him ahead of Lomachenko because Lomachenko done put in the work. Lomachenko been done fight the top guys in the division. You know? He didn't win all of them, but he fought the top guys. I can't put him ahead of Lomachenko and all these guys. And just imagine if Teofimo Lopez, for example, was to beat Josh Taylor and become a WBO champion up there. Then that'll be two-time world champion. Well, no, not two-time, but four-time world champion, Teofimo Lopez, right? Because he won 4 belts. And you got to think about this, right? The guys who are the lineal champion, right, who got the Ring Magazine title, they are the top guy, ranked the top guy in the division. So we had Teo, who was the Ring Magazine. If Teo beats Josh Taylor, he become lineal champion. So he gonna have the Ring Magazine title. He gonna be the lineal champion at 140. Plus he's the WBO champion, and he was lineal world champion before that. So he'd be 2-time lineal world champion. This the guy that beat Vasily Lomachenko. Y'all ought to understand what the hell you watch with Lomachenko, all right? The man who beat Lomachenko are bad boys. Orlando Salido was a 3-time featherweight or super featherweight, I think featherweight world champion. 3 times. Orlando Salido had faced everybody from Juan Manuel Marquez to everybody. Okay? So when we talk about Orlando Salido, it wasn't no ordinary guy that was facing Vasily Lomachenko. Lomachenko got beat by a guy that's not ordinary. Okay? So, you know, people, Vasily, I don't even know if Shakur Stevenson could beat Vasily Lomachenko. Okay? That's how, because the man had fought people, you know, and as much as Shakur thinks they may have a game plan to beat Lomachenko, because the game plan is out there. I saw Lomachenko, you know, there was a channel that was talking about how Lomachenko went Tyson style. He started doing the peekaboo against Devin Haney in rounds 10 and 11 and 9. He was slipping the punches by peekabooing. He started bobbing from side to side. He changed up his style. That freaking guy called Lomachenko, he's no joke, y'all. He's no joke. All right? He's no joke. He really is legit a great fighter. Anyways, man, Lomachenko's career ain't over. I hope he continues onwards. I hope he does not retire. I hope he gets to become undisputed. And there are different options and ways that it can happen. But we're talking about the best versus the best. The best in this division, by consensus, everybody believes, the best in the division is Tank Davis. The best in the division is Devin Haney. And the best in the division right now, by consensus, is Shakur Stevenson. But Shakur Stevenson ain't done nothing in the division. He beat one guy. He stopped him, you know. But he ain't faced the top echelon. He ain't faced no world champions. He ain't faced no former world champions. You know, he hasn't faced anybody. He ain't done nothing in the division. So we kind of let Shakur sit on the side because there's better than Shakur right now in the division. All around. When we say better, we mean resume as well as the eye test. And Devin Haney, Lomachenko, and Gervonta Tank Davis have done way more in the division of lightweight than Shakur Stevenson has done. Okay, accomplished way more than Shakur Stevenson has accomplished. Even though Shakur Stevenson may look, I said look, mind you, I said look, I'm gonna repeat myself one more time. I said looks like he is the best fighter in the division. We don't know. When he steps up in competition, different competition with the different experiences and skill sets will test him, and we will see how his skills hold up, how his IQ holds up to higher level competition. He has his highest level competition has been Oscar Valdez. All right? That's been his step up fight.